Hello, living dangerously today. I am in the Munich tunnel here at Old Trafford. I have got to get a train to get myself back from Manchester to Norwich. You can see loads of Munich tributes along the tunnel here. The ground, by the way, is in there. It's quite a place to come and watch football. Less enjoyable if you see your side absolutely smashed 4-0. And when I say that, that's as much Norwich's issue really, because I thought they were too passive, they lacked belief, and for once the table really didn't lie, because Norwich looked significantly short of where they needed to be against the United side, I have to say, who I thought were set up very well to stop Norwich in Norwich's half. I thought it looked probably to a lot of people like and Norwich weren't at it, let's be quite clear, but actually United were pretty astute in how they were closing down Norwich's passing options, and they sat really high on them, so that ball that goes backwards that helps Norwich retain possession, United were often on that, and it made life really difficult for them to then break out the press, and United end up back with the ball really quickly, and that penned them in consistently. It has to be said that actually although Norwich had to deal with that, and it proved very hard, there weren't many chances in that first half. United led, it was a lovely goal. White Matter was given too much time to cross the ball, probably by Todd Campbell, he was closest. There was another goal, I think, from the short corner later on in the second half that really Todd had to get out, well, in my opinion, Todd had to get out quick to close it down. So those were a couple of issues, and clearly Norwich had defensive issues. But there was still a bit of hope. It's just the start of the second half that's killed them. It's not the first time they've started the second half badly either, but the penalty gets given by VAR. Oh, okay, yeah, do I keep going up that way? Thank you, mate. The filming while the coaches are leaving, so this is good, this is live for you. Hopefully I'm making my way out. That way, cheers mate, thank you. Try not to get run over by the buses. Team coach, probably going to be a bit of a tricky ride home. I've got no idea if I'm going in the right direction now for my train either, but we'll soon figure that out. So yeah, the penalty in the second half is very annoying. Krul comes out and puts an arm along the floor. That is enough to take Ben Williams down, not that he actually touches him. Now Ben Williams was very good today, but to me that's a dive, and to me VAR should look at it and go, well, he hasn't actually physically touched him. Now, of course, what VAR really does is says you've forced Ben Williams to take evasive action, which is why he's gone down. It's not really about the contact, which is quite an annoying way of looking at it, but ultimately it's a very hard one to probably overturn. I say that while still finding myself annoyed at the fact that it's not particularly fair when you look at the first penalty at Carrow Road, where it was quite clearly not a penalty, and they kept looking at it, and then they overturned it and gave it to United. So, but yeah. Mason Greenwood came on and scored a wonderful goal, late drill, but again given far too much room for the shot. That was where Norwich kind of slipped up as the game wore on, and it became more and more of a struggle for them. And United kind of strangled them out of the game, which is a shame because Norwich have been playing pretty well. It's been a while since we've seen them that short, and you know, the Norwich players are all looking at it thinking we just weren't good enough, and possibly a little bit too conscious of how good United are on the counter. It's certainly how it looked like watching them play. For the most part, hopefully Grant Hanley will be okay. I don't know how bad that was that forced him off. It looked like cramp initially, but he did then come off later. Farke made several changes in terms of formation. We saw a sort of a 3-4-2-1. Norwich kind of played that striker for the last 10-15 minutes, and before that they had Adam Ida, who had almost no service and nothing to work with, and showed what is quite clearly inexperience, because the guy, that was his first senior league football start, not even Premier League football. So maybe, you know, Preston obviously he was very impressive, but I think everyone, as far as he's made that journey, it's always been about what Adam could do from here, and this was very much a step that showed playing at Old Trafford against Man United in this side, because it's a struggling Norwich side, it's always going to be difficult. I hope you can hear this, by the way, because it's very windy, but of course how that now develops into what Adam Ida does next. Norwich are home to Bournemouth on Saturday. It's a game if Norwich want to stay up, and they are looking particularly adrift at the moment. If they want to stay up, they're going to have to win it. Straightforward, no ifs or buts, I don't care how, they're going to have to win it. And if not, maybe the rest of January should be looking at preempting what happens in the Championship for them next year. Right, I'm going to wrap up because I've got to make sure I get this train, otherwise I'm not going to get back to Norwich, and that would be ugly. If you're watching, following, put a comment, like, say hello, all those things, I'll check it, and that's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the usual places, or on Twitter, via however you watch it. Thank you for your support as always. I'll have a piece on The Athletic, make sure you watch that, and some interesting bits coming up at the, next week, and some really good bits from last week. Read them. I really enjoyed putting them together. But until then, we'll say goodbye to Old Trafford. Norwich have lost here 4-0. We'll see when they're back next. Cheerio!